And I'd like to call our meeting to order. If you bow your head for a short word of prayer. You ready, Jerry? Heavenly Father, we do thank Thee for this beautiful 4th of July, in which we might celebrate the birthday of our country, Lord. And we thank Thee for this country. We know that there's a lot of stuff wrong with it, but Lord, pray that You would help us to do our part and fix what was wrong with it, get this nation back to Thee. Lord, our prayer list was long in the churches yesterday, and You know each one of them that need Thy healing hand. Pray for Mr. Bracknell's sister and all the others, Lord, that need Thy healing hand. Touch their bodies and restore them to their health, that be Thy will. Ask Thee to go through this meeting, Lord. Help us to say things that might bring honor to Your glory and honor and glory to Your holy name, Lord. Ask Thee to bless America and bless Temple, Georgia. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Join me in saluting the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The approval of the minutes of December the 9th, executive session. Yes.
We previously approved the minutes of that meeting. We hadn't approved executive session.
Okay, which ones did we approve? Can you call out the ones we approved?
I won't have all of them, but I do know that we had approved the minutes of the December 9th special meeting, but you did not approve the executive session that was tied in with it.
You mean March 2nd?
Well, didn't Mrs. Daly just bring those executive session minutes around to each councilman and each councilman sign off on that?
Yes, not the,
Ma'am?
It was the affidavit. The minutes, we were supposed to approve like,
We got that.
not in the meeting, but because I asked them.
Okay, do you make a motion, Mr. Wall?
I will make a motion to approve this one tonight, session minutes.
second.
Mr. Bracknell, any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
These were not minutes, this is basically,
That's what happened.
so you're approving the minutes again without an affidavit. But I thought you said the affidavits would have not been approved. Nobody signed an affidavit.
Affidavit is here.
Where, so all I got right here is this, and it doesn't say affidavit, you're saying these are minutes.
So, if I have an affidavit here to be signed by them, who will write it?
So I guess my question is what you have in our packet, the affidavit, or is this the minutes?
No, you do not have an affidavit in your packet. That affidavit that here to be signed by those who were at the meeting.
Still confused when this executive session minutes. Somebody help me. You know, it was, I thought that these were only done in case it goes to court and a judge subpoenas the executive session minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When we got here, the very first executive session meeting we were in, we were given an affidavit before we left the range that everyone had to sign. Then we were supposed to have minutes, but they couldn't find the red folder that contained the minutes. And then later, the clerk found the red folder. So we had an affidavit, we would sign the affidavit in the back. Then, at a later date, the next meeting, that red folder was passed around. We all simply looked at it and agreed that, yeah, okay, that covered what we signed. And then that was a red folder. Those were not public in packets.
Yeah, that's what Mrs. Davis said, they were not supposed to be public record, the session was, in case the judge suspended them, that's what I thought.
Well, the minutes didn't tell, they don't tell what happens in the back, it's just going into executive session, the time and the time that Jeremy makes the motion and all that. You don't have the actual action down on paper, do you?
But he is right here.
That's not the action that took
It
place.
says that's right there, number 2. So my point is, affidavit that y'all should have signed back there is what's not here. This should have been approved and put into a separate folder in case these accounts shall ask later.
Well, I'm not an attorney. I say, yeah, table it till we get an attorney here.
That's a good idea.
I'm not gonna make a decision that involves a law degree, I don't have one. So anything that says executive session, I say, I make a motion that we table it.
Mr. Long, you're not going to withdraw.
Can I?
I'll withdraw that.
All right.
Second.
Anything that has to do with executive session, I say table, which has CT, March 2nd, March 7th. Table until we have an attorney to give us legal advice.
Got a motion by Mr. Bradford to table anything that says executive session here on our agenda.
Being March the 2nd and March 2nd, March 2nd, March 2nd.
March 2nd, March 2nd. Second by Mr. Walton. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there.
One abstain, that's carried. Okay.
All right, so March the 9th has been approved, is that what you said, Mr. Brandon?
March 2nd.
We send it
Yeah, that's an executive session when we go. But, so the first one is March 2nd, is that what you're telling me?
But March the 2nd, so
March the 2nd.
Well, see, the only thing I see on here is down here, executive session and motion to come out of executive session, second. And a motion to go back into regular meeting, second.
Does that need to be brought under the same umbrella as mentioned in the executive session that we speak?
We can, but we just need to go back and get those two motions.
I think that was corrected, following meeting.
Okay.
You brought that up, the corrections.
On the same.
That we have, you know, where that is.
it's in the March 7th, I think, somewhere. I thought, I've read it where it was showing like where there should be some changes in future minutes. So I mean, one after.
April 4 minutes. You have a couple of
But right now, we're just on March 2nd as far as approved.
Right.
So I don't have any March 2nd minutes, so I'm doing that executive session.
Yeah, really. It's April the 4th, yes, Mr. Mayor, where you brought that up, to make changes to it.
Okay. So we want to pencil them in and go. You see where it is. Who made the motion?
determination was made that Councilmember Bracknell made a motion to go into executive session with a second by Councilmember Ransom. Also, that following the recess and said executive session, Councilmember Bracknell made a motion to go back into regular meeting with a second by Councilmember Walden. So it is there. We just have to be
Wednesday evening.
April 4th. But first page.
Who made the motion to go back in the regular meeting?
Bracknell.
You second?
No, I think it's two.
Yeah, Ms. Ransom second.
The first one.
The first one.
That day, that's second.
The second one, I did the second, Mr. Bracknell.
Okay, now, y'all want Kristen to retype those, or you want to just fill in the blanks and go?
And then in that same paragraph, then later in the meeting, Councilmember Bracknell made a motion to go back into executive session with a second by Councilmember Ransom.
So I don't think it went like that.
Also, that,
It's misunderstood, that's fine.
okay, it looks like it's just duplicated.
But it still looks like we did it 3 times.
You want to table March 2nd again to get those corrected?
So we table, or so we table the executive session, and we table in the March 2nd, is that correct?
Motion. You make a motion, Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
Second motion by Mr. Bratton, March 2nd, here second. Second, Mr. Wall, any discussion? Signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's carried.
So is it March 7th?
March 7th. Motion on March 2nd.
I got corrections. There are corrections. On the executive session, Council,
Executive session.
it's on the minutes from March the 7th.
Okay.
If you'll go to where it says executive session, last page, next to last page. Councilmember Walden motioned to recess an executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel, seconded by Rockwell, vote 4-0. I opposed and asked that we bring that information on the clerk's out front. And so then it has me opposing at the end, here was my question. We had a motion to return. I'm pretty sure, okay, I did not vote on any returning, and you had me voting to return to executive session when I didn't go back. Or I did go back, but I didn't come back, I didn't vote. And then you have an amendment of the agenda, but we don't show how the vote to amend the agenda went. And we just go straight into a hiring, so we don't have a vote to show if we even amended the agenda. So all of that part needs to be redone.
Make a motion to table March 7th, then.
Make a motion to table March.
Motion by Mr. Bratton, your second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Ransom, any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now, April the 4th.
Now, sorry, I think. Go ahead.
Mr. Wall.
I was gonna make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to send the April the 4th minutes back to Ms. Etheridge to condense them down from 10 pages, more along the line of the minutes that we just received for the June the 6th meeting, that was like 4 pages.
Were you saying April 4 and May 2nd, Mr. Walden?
Yeah, April the 4th. May 2nd is gonna come into question too. But I don't think we need 10 pages of minutes. There's a lot of
Can we combine those, Mr. Mayor? If we're going to table April the 4th, table May the 2nd, we get them in a more concise manner?
Yes,
those.
Mayor, just real quick.
yes, ma'am.
When y'all were doing the table of executive session, I'll make sure I'm correct. You said December 9th, and you said March the 2nd, but you've also got executive session minutes in here for March the 7th.
They're all, I said, any
I thought you just listed
executive
two.
session.
so
Any
We're gonna do
executive session.
any executive session.
All right.
So March, December the 9th is executive session too, correct?
Got a motion by Mr. Walden to table April the 4th, send them back to
April and May 2nd.
May 2nd.
I second that.
Got a second. Any discussion?
One second.
Huh?
Hold up, there was a
Okay.
wrong vote in one of them. Let me see
Okay.
what month we're at. Okay, on May the 2nd, on number 9.
Yes.
Yeah, you've got a vote. Here, there was no vote. It died for lack of a second. So when those get condensed, we need to make sure that there was no vote.
Okay, so the
Oh, and also number 14, the mayor did not attend that executive session, and that's not reflected in the minutes either.
Okay. Any more discussion on April the 4th and May the 2nd?
I would just like to see it advanced down along the line of Jesus says.
Gotcha. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? It's carried. May 18th, special call meeting.
April 13th, May 1st, May
13th.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Red.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to keep myself organized.
So those were okay.
You know what? That too, Mr. Mayor, is, that's an executive session.
That's condensed.
Yeah, but it's executive session.
One of them is.
Gavin made a motion. Second. Second, Mr. Walden.
Okay, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
That one should be included in my original.
Okay.
Because it was, you know,
Executive session in there.
yeah, because that said any executive session.
You did.
So far, it's December the 9th, March 2nd, March 7th, April the 13th.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And took care of that then. All right, May the 18th, special call meeting. Yes, sir.
No, but we did have on April the 13th, we did have a call meeting that was not executive session. Right?
I'm lost. Yeah, what was that one for? That April 13th session?
That was for the agreement between the city of Gold Rick and the city of Canfield. We talked about job descriptions. That's when they had found the ordinance for the job descriptions. And then there was executive session after that.
Can we, oh, those are right, correct? That's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to find it.
Well, it mentions executive session in the regular minutes there, and then we've got separate sections for executive
And
session.
what's the date of this, because mine gave,
April
April
13th.
13th.
Yours may be right now, mine's a little bit looking for it. Oh, I found it. I found the executive session for April 13th. Oh, here it is. Yes, sir.
I don't think turned it off.
Yes. Well, wait a minute, let me ask you something, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Because what it's saying is, it's saying there's a motion to end executive session by Bracknell, second by Baldwin, but it doesn't give it. But you were not here then, so that's right. So that part, is that part right for that, so that we could approve these?
You seem to have
All right, it's,
13th in my book.
I just have one thing, I don't have all of it.
this is what is in my book, this one. And it's right in front of the executive session. It's right in front of the executive session. You got the executive session for May 13th? I mean, April 13th? You gotta go the other way. Should be the next thing. Now, right in front of that should be what we're, that's the ones we think is okay.
That was the business that we have.
That is the business that we handle.
Yes.
And look at page 2 where it says about the executive session. I don't think that's not having anything to do with what we were talking about earlier. It just says we went into executive session, we came out of executive session. That's all it says.
But under new business, Mayor, the executive session concerned personnel matter, that would be a part of the comments under new business, so that would be fine. Then it says council members returned from,
Executive session.
and then a motion to end the executive session, and then a motion to go back into regular, and then to go into the second call meeting. So I think those are probably, I mean, I wasn't here, but if y'all are good with those.
I'm good with those.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion we accept the April 13th special call meeting, not the executive, just the
Got
call.
a motion by Mr. Bratton. Do I hear a second? Second, Mr. Walden. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Same.
Great.
So May 2nd, we've already dealt with.
Okay, May 2nd.
So the next would be May the 18th, correct?
Did we do May 2nd?
That's the one we tabled.
We haven't taken it,
Yes,
okay.
sir. That's the reason. So the next one I see is May the 18th.
May the 18th. May the 18th special call meeting. Hear a motion on those?
I make a motion we accept these.
Have a motion, Mr. Bratton. I'll hear a second. Second. Second, Mr. Walden. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, Ms. Rexon abstain. Okay. Now we're on June the 6th,
May 23rd.
May 1.
May 23rd was approved on, June 2nd.
So they're just back in here.
We put it in. June the 6th.
Are we looking over the 6th? Are we looking like the 6th or you?
Yeah, June the 6th.
All right. On number 6, I was fairly certain. It says here that Director Joe Wilson requested that the mayor, that the job be posted again, that you said to post the job again, was my understanding. During the meeting, you said, can we repost that job? Number 6, the approving the appointment of the individual to fill the position for the field maintenance coordinator.
No, that was tabled. Because they were going, the discussion was that it was to be done in-house.
I'm pretty sure the mayor said, can we re-advertise this with the rate of pay that we're gonna be offering, is what I'm fairly certain he said.
I don't think it was a motion.
No action was taken.
No action was taken on it.
So we didn't re-advertise the job showing the amount that we were gonna pay.
No. We did not authorize it. Because they were looking at another alternative to that.
Which were before.
River bottoms was cut grass at $12 an hour.
Which was a lot cheaper than having an employee.
Okay.
I make a motion we accept these minutes, the June 6 minutes.
Have a motion, Mr. Bratton, to approve the June 6 minutes. Do I hear a second?
Second with some short discussion.
Second with, Mr. Wall,
I see.
have discussion.
I see nothing on here where there's any, closing comments by council members. Apparently there was none.
I don't think there was none, we went around, but there was none.
Okay, that's all I have.
Any more discussion? Yes, ma'am.
The other thing I had was number 5, and it was under the approving the consultant agreements. It just said after discussion, no action taken. But my understanding was, you said no, you didn't recommend a person for hire.
I did.
Okay. It just looks like we just didn't make a decision on someone who we had consulted with, which we had not. So that was all I saw on those.
Okay. Any more? Yes, sir.
On June the 6th, under the public comment, I would like to see that lady's phone number taken out of there. Looks like a
Yeah.
cell phone number in the minutes.
Delete that.
Let's just delete the phone number. Leave the rest.
Any more discussion? Not saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, that is all. Adopt a revision, revised version of the city's utility service policy.
Did you like 4Q and 4Q?
I guarantee you.
You would go over past all those sets of minutes, and you will find we're bringing back to you for another try, looking at the city's utility service policies. And as the memo points out, Dwayne Everhart, Pam Edwards, and myself, we have met again, looking at trying to respond to some of the questions that came up when we last talked about this. We also, in talking with Ms. Edwards, I think that the problem was not as great as discussion had indicated it might be, because we're only talking about, according to Ms. Edwards, about 2% of our customers that actually look at a payment arrangement. We're talking about less than 30 families a year. 30 families a month. Most of those older people, and that their problem is basically getting their Social Security check in before they're able to make the payment. There were a couple of things that we did recommend that really looking at not worrying about there being any limit of 2 times a year that they could have something late, because we're not talking about that many people, and apparently virtually all of them are paying up to go late. The problem we have that causes a shortfall is people who simply move without paying the bill. So we're stuck with an unpaid bill because the person moved from the house. What we also talked about was looking at how long the window that there would be when somebody came here asking for water service to be turned on. There were some of you who felt that 3-hour window was too long. In our discussion, we felt like that looking at changing that to a 2-hour window. We can do it quicker than that, fine, but the promise that we would do it in 1 hour is really unrealistic, considering other things that might be going on with the people who would be involved with that. Okay? So those were the changes that we looked at making and have made so that what we now have what we're presenting to you. Basically, you will see down here at the bottom of the first page, the proposed version, that we would agree to a 2-hour block of time. We did leave in that a customer representative had to be present, and if they were not, then we would have to reschedule another meeting. We also, if you will look over a couple of pages over to the customer payment arrangements, that's where we were looking at there being the ability for people to make arrangements with the billing clerk so that they could pay later. The latest payment could be made would be the 22nd. That assures that Social Security checks have been received by everybody. And if you don't make the payment by the time that you have agreed to on the delayed amount, that shows you on the page that you would be looking at immediate disconnect of your service as well as paying late fees and disconnect fees. Those are, I think, are the main things. Dwayne, did I overlook anything? Yes.
The only concern I really have is on the D, customer payment arrangements, down to the 4th bullet. It simply says that on the 10th day of the following month, that the city billing clerk will notify the Public Works Department with the name of each customer who's past due. Then it simply says they will proceed to make disconnections over the next 10 regular working days. However, should the customer pay in full, my thing is, you know, we got to have a day, or you're going to have people saying, well, they paid on the 12th, and I didn't get cut off to the 16th, so why do I owe $50, but this person didn't get? I mean, if you're going to be cutting people off over 10 days, how's anybody going to know what day you come to their house? That is way too confusing. Yeah, that, you need to have, if cutoff is the 10th, it's the 10th, and you have until the 22nd if you make a payment arrangement. But to say that you can do the luck of the draw within 10 days, that we might or might not cut you off to call in and make your arrangement, it's kind of...
Well, that's contrary to a discussion that we've all had before, and that is that somebody comes in and pays, and after they come in to pay, they get home and find out that we've cut them off. And so, the fact of the matter is that everybody doesn't get handled the same day.
But what I guess I'm saying is to say in our policy that basically the city public works will put the name of all these customers on a list for disconnect and will proceed to make these disconnections during the next 10 days. However, should the customer pay his bill, then the city clerk will contact Public Works, take them off the list, but if they're cut off, well, then they're going to pay $50 to get cut back on. All I'm saying is if you're going to let people do the luck of the draw during that 10 days, then you're going to have a cutoff day. And if you don't get cut off and you don't make a payment arrangement, then that's one thing. But to say in our policy, you know, we ain't going to tell you which day we're cutting you off. It'll just be sometime in 10 days.
That's not the way that it worked in the past. It's not what we've had discussion on in the past.
Okay, so what you're saying is basically if you live in the city of Temple, you've got the luck of the draw for 10 days, and if we don't cut you off, you're good, and if we do cut you off, you're not. But we're not going to tell you when we're going to cut you off? Because I don't remember discussing that.
That's the process that there is a date that is due, and if you haven't paid, then we start the process, but everybody is not cut off. All homes are not visited the same day.
Exactly, but I guess my point is that the policy just probably needs to say the 10th is cutoff day, and it may take the city up to 10 days to do it, but on the 10th, you better have your payment arrangement made, or you're subject to disconnect. Not, you got 10 days, and if we get out there, I mean, it's a little too...
We could take another look at that, Ms. Vance, but I think you're misreading it, because I think that what we had talked about in the past is that if people who haven't paid by the 10th, their names are turned over to Public Works, so that they are subject at that point to being disconnected unless they made special arrangements. But as our crew is making its rounds, because they can't get to all the houses in the same couple of days, that if you come in and pay, because I know we did have a discussion about people who try and prevent people to come in and actually pay. They may be paying a couple of days late, but they pay before we have reached the point of disconnecting them.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is go cut somebody off on the 15th whose next door neighbor didn't get cut off to the 17th and pull this policy out and explain it to them. You're not going to be able to.
Well, that's not likely to happen because you'd be cutting off people in the same geographic area.
Or maybe one got cut off and they took a lunch. I'm just, when you're, it's simple. Have a cutoff day. Make a payment arrangement before a cutoff day. If the bills are due on the 20th, and any payment after that is subject to 10% penalty, that's pretty clear. You're due on the 20th, and you're going to get a 10% penalty after the 10th. Right here doesn't even tell you when you need to make a payment arrangement, just that on the 10th day of the following month, that's the day the billing clerk is going to notify the Public Works of any names. Then they're going to put them on a list to be disconnected over the next 10 working days. However, if a customer gets in, during those 10 days, good. If a customer don't, they're going to pay a $50 reconnect fee. I'm just saying, if we're going to do it this way, just give us a disconnect date, subject to disconnect. It still might take them 10 days. But then you would know when you needed to make your payment arrangement.
Mr. Mayor, I suggest we just delay this.
You don't have to delay it. It's
Yes, ma'am.
simple.
I'd suggest you come in and have an appointment and we can talk about it because
Mayor, can you ask him what he feels about that? Can you ask the Public Works guy what he feels about this one section? Does it sound just confusing?
Dwayne, got a question too?
It's not big enough to hold up the policy, but do you understand what I'm saying here? It just gives you this list of disconnect, and then over the next 10 regular days, however, if you get in during that time, you're good. If you don't get in, you're not.
Well, this part right here, the Public Works Department will place the name on each customer on the cutoff list. The Public Works Department does not do that. The utility billing clerk does that. And cutoffs are not done over the course of 10 days. It's done actually on one day. So cutoff list is distributed. We go out and cut the water off that same day. If it's 45 people, all 45 people's water is disconnected that same day.
But they know they're subject to it after the 10th.
Yeah,
They know they're subject to it. If they didn't pay by the 10th, they know the water's to be cut off.
that's,
So no matter what they do.
that's right.
Well,
You
then
have-
just
you
delete
have a
that
date
part.
set up.
Mr. Simmons, you have
Well, you're gonna have a date set up, and it's up to them to get it on that date.
Right,
And
but-
they can't go after that date.
But this right here is kind of misleading because it says that we will actually cut off water over the course of 10 days, which is not true. If the list is distributed, if it's 45 people, it's 30 people. Those 30 people, 45 people's water is disconnected the same day, not over the course of 10 days. So, again, that part right there is kind of misleading.
It's hard to schedule, it's hard to put in a policy which day it would be.
But if you just delete that out, it's going to be on the 10th. Because on the 10th is what it says right here, other than unless you get in here during the 10 days, they ain't got to you yet.
They're subject to being cut off.
Okay, so do we want to tell the public in a policy that they got 10 days to play Russian roulette with that, pull that back out on us? It just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
Right, if I'm understanding this right here, right, so if,
All right, leave it in there and deal with the customer. I mean, it's it makes no sense, but, okay.
Okay. Your motion to approve this.
Make a motion to approve it.
Motion, Mr. Bratton, here, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Simmons, any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Anyone opposed? Okay. Update on the land of the water conservation fund project, Joe. You're next, Joseph.
Yep.
Says update report on the land and water conservation fund project and city park. Sir, you got an update for us?
I got an update from Howard.
Okay.
Report to me today. But it was just the cost through last week of everything that has been up to this point. And really, Darryl completed his job, they paid him. We got the breakdown of how much money we have left after everything. The county came out and hydro seeded the areas that didn't have grass on it. And now we got a trailer up there with hay in it. We have to get the hay spread out in those areas. So I put in a work order for the detail there, help us spread the hay out there next week, whenever they get back.
Grass growing, or you got enough rain?
Well, it's still, the seeding now, we got grass growing, the fields are actually growing better than they thought, when we thought we were going.
Is there an irrigation system?
Irrigation.
Is that the last step before we get our final approval, we get our
Yes.
$100,000?
That's what he said he wanted. He wants the hay out there. I guess set up the appointment for the state to come back out and that was
We
there.
can get our money out.
Yes. That's what I know.
Yes, sir.
Is that well still working?
Yeah, the well working, but we got to replace it because something got in there and made a big nest about that big. A nest about that big, and it ate all the circuits of it. Well, up until then, it was working. You can still cut it on, but in 5 minutes it'll shut off because it's shorting out from whatever made the nest in.
Okay. So that was supposed to be for the irrigation of that kind of stuff, so that we wouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah,
So it's something, is that going to be repaired?
yeah, we're working on that right now.
How much was the final cost?
The total budget was 27.5, and it's 6,013.90 is remaining.
How much? Do it one more time.
6,013.90.
Is that allocated to something?
That'll go back to the budget.
So that's minus Daryl's hours and then the supplies that we had.
Any more questions for Kelly? Yes, ma'am.
I still haven't been able to get a financial printout with a breakdown, so if that 6,000 is to be reapplied, I never did get an answer on which squash or what exactly we took that money out of, so we make sure that leftover gets reapplied to the fund that was supposed to pay for this.
Any more questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Joseph. Following action to handle responsibilities formerly assigned to the Parks and Maintenance Supervisor position, Mr. Osborne.
You go to the next tab over, it says Field Maintenance Supervisor and Recreation Department. And that was, Councilmember Ransom reported to this item earlier. Of course, what we did after you decided that we would go on, or after it was decided we would go on an alternate route, that, and we do have a contract already, as you know, with River Bottom Farms. And what they have already begun to do was to cut grass because we had the vacancy. And we're looking at doing this at $12 an hour. It was pointed out earlier in this meeting, that's a better rate than we can hire somebody, especially with fringe benefits. What I have attached for you, and this was in what we had distributed on Friday for those of you who picked up books. The next page, you can see this is the actual agreement between us and River Bottom Farms that shows you what we already are paying. And what I'm proposing, if you look on the next page, is an amendment to that agreement that simply would add, this is a new paragraph before you get to the final paragraph of the current agreement. And it would simply say that the current agreement scope of service is amended to include cutting grass in the city park on the schedule prepared by the city recreation department at a cost of $12 per hour. Said schedule shall be provided to River Bottom Farm on a bi-weekly basis based on the season of the year, recent rainfall, and other conditions. In accordance with the remainder of the scope of service in this agreement, it extends to December 31, 2016. Open questions that you might have with myself or Mr. Wilson, but would request that council approve the amendment to this current contract to River Bottom Farms, which would provide for us to be able to continue with this arrangement of paying them $12 per hour for the working people.
Okay, the pay scale for the job over there is a level 7, so that's what, $12, $15 an hour is what this job pays?
Well, the starting pay, I think, did you say $11.50?
Run $12, pay grade 7. So basically for $12 an hour, under the approved job description, you were getting the grass cut, the trash containers done, maintenance on the vehicles, repaired the appliances and equipment. It did a lot more than cut the grass for $12. This was the person that had to come in and assist the rec director when you got even in ball games. It also operated automotive equipment, including the tractors, the grooming machines. It was supposed to set up the chairs, booths, tables, stages, tents for special events. It also had to maintain multiple ball fields, which would include, and correct me if I'm wrong, that would be the lining of the fields and the mounds of the fields and that kind of thing. So this was a full-time position that did more than just cut grass for less than $12 an hour. If we go to paying $12 an hour to River Bottom Farms just to cut the grass, you're not going to have anybody doing any of this other stuff. And before you can do a new job description for a Parks and Recreation assistant, where you change the pay grade and change the job duties per the charter, this will require an ordinance. This will require the pay grade and everything to be, done to create this position. So in the meantime, you're going to be left with nobody but cutting grass and I guess Joe and one other person to do any and everything on ball fields.
No, ma'am. Right now, we have River Bottoms has been cutting the grass. And they've been cutting the grass since the employee left because we did grass cutting and they were already working with us.
But he did more than grass cutting. He was grass cutting. He was up there in the evening. He did registration. He took care of a lot of duties in this job description. So what I'm saying is for $11.50, you had somebody doing all this versus paying $12 for someone to cut the grass and then having to create a new job description, go through the ordinance process, set the pay scale to bring somebody in to do anything but cut grass. And for $11.50, you had all of this done for less than what we're paying them to cut the grass until we hired somebody.
Well, the cost of the employee, you're talking about what they would be paid, your fringe benefit cost will add another probably 35% to that. So it is a higher cost. But and we also, part of the grass cutting, as we've stated, is being done by the inmate crew. So those two together are picking up that
There
much.
was just very little grass cutting in this job description. It was a lot of other stuff.
So the only thing we're being asked to do is just approve this grass cutting to be added to the contract we have with River Bottom.
That's the only thing before you at this time.
Okay, I make a motion that we amend that and add that agreement to pay $12 an hour to grass cutting.
Got a motion, Mr. Brackman, to add this current amendment to the contract and $12 an hour on this cut scratch. Your second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rockwell. Any discussion?
And is this in the budget for what he just made a motion and we got a second to do? Is it in the budget for labor in the rec department under contract services? Because last printout I saw in the budget that I had, it wasn't. So if it's not in the budget, how are you gonna pay for it?
It's in the budget. It was stated in here that the funds that we have for the position that was occupied.
That's a payroll job, and we don't even know where we are in payroll right now because we're already overpaying for admin. So my question is, can you show me that this $12 an hour is in the budget where it was approved? We do a line item budget to pay somebody $12 an hour to cut the grass and not have anyone over there until a new job description is created by an ordinance to help 2 employees at a rec department do anything with our ball fields, with cheerleading and football fixing to start. I mean, I don't know how they can handle that, but like I said, I don't know that this is even in the budget. I tried to look through the figures that we were given, but it doesn't look like there's been anything in these figures for at least 3 months. So I would say this is probably figures from January to March, maybe April.
Hey, any more discussion? Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Oh my goodness.
Opposed?
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 Mr. Mayor, the other part of this, which Councilmember Ransom was commenting on, and obviously there's some steps still to be gone through. This is correct that in addition to cutting grass, there were some other duties that were handled by our employee who resigned, and based on the discussion and the decision back last month, we were looking at what other responsibilities that we need to be handled that we could do by a part-time person. And what you have in front of you is what I had presented. Y'all are just looking at it, so we're not actually asking you to take any action at this time. We will respond to Councilman Ransom's request for information, so that we can present that to you and bring this back to you at your next meeting. Because what we did have 3 full-time employees. We now have 2 full-time employees, and so we do need in some way to provide some additional support and assistance to Mr. Johnson and the athletic director, and this was a way that we talked about trying to do it.
Okay. All right. Update report on the employee handbook, that 5 was May 2015 date.
Next item, you can see a memo on that at your last meeting. Councilmember Ransom called attention to a couple of things that were not included in the handbook. One being the take-home vehicle policy. We went back, found that this policy had been adopted in 2008. We did not find that the council repealed this policy. So I can't tell you why it was not in the version that I had, but we do know that it was in one of the positions that some employees returned. I'm sure that it should have still been in there, and we'll look at needing to put that back. The 2 appendices was a mistake on my part that I had not included them in the handbook. I had Appendix A, could not find Appendix B here. I did manage to get a copy of that from Carter Crawford. Those had been, of course, taken from the city of Sylvania. That information is attached to what I have presented to you. We also mentioned staff, and of course, what did was the council had approved some amendments to the personnel policies and procedures, but there may be some other things, some inconsistencies that need to be taught. For example, Chief Lee had identified that while most of our government employees operate on a 6-month probationary period, the police department has a 12-month probationary period. And so what I've asked them to do is to see if there's anything else that needs to be changed. What I propose is that we come back to you in the month of July with any other changes that might have that on the agenda for August 1st. That would include, including the Paygo vehicle policy and the two appendices.
Okay. All right.
Like,
Yes, ma'am.
on the handbook, the copy of the handbook that is the handbook that most employees have, if you went down into time off benefits, it was vacation, holidays, sick leave, leaves of absence, family medical leave, and bereavement leave. Now, when I had made a copy of this up here, I believe you had told me that Kate had took one of yours. I remember you saying that you were going to get it back. I think the one you had has a separate table of contents. This table of contents, under time off benefits, had number 36 as maternity leave. The City of Temple, on September the 6th of 2012, completely took Tara Bivens. I went back and checked motions of the spot that I took and tried to make note of what she had done or not done before I took office. And on September 6th of 2012, at the meeting, the council removed the maternity leave out of the handbook completely. They went back in November, it was the regular meeting in November of 2012, and they replaced the maternity leave with the short-term disability to go up under the FMLA. Now, you've had employees during that time who were in writing denied maternity leave because it was changed. This new handbook has maternity leave back in it. So that's going to have to be, and like I said, I can make another copy because this one showed the last 3 pages of the handbook. You know, it showed each time there had been a change and where the change was. And so this maternity leave is what was taken out. And I'm sure y'all can look at the minutes if Kristen wants to pull the September 6th of 2012 and then the November 5th maybe of 2012. But the new handbook, it looks as if maternity has been placed back in it along with the family medical leave. And so the maternity policy where we're paying, that rolled over under short-term disability. So we need to get that taken care of because that's not something I can find at the council at any time, put maternity leave back in. And as far as the appendix A and B, I went back and pulled the packet from when Carter had given us what to look over. The A and B was not there. It's not anything that we have seen. And so those 2 things the council did not have that night. So those have not been voted on by the council.
Yes, but I'd say if there's any other from Council Member Ransom's standpoint or the others, if y'all find anything else questionable, that would be something we would look at changing when we do this on August 1st. We would have the appendices.
Okay. Okay, then earlier I omitted public comment. It was not on the agenda, so if Ken would like to place a public comment section in here now. Do we have any public comment?
You can make a motion that we put it
Yes,
on the
make
agenda.
a motion.
I make a motion that we provide this time, that we add public comment to this agenda.
Here, second.
To amend the agenda to put public comment.
Second. Mr. Simmons, any discussion?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried. Okay, public comment. Do we have any comment from the public?
I didn't see it.
Is it where?
I didn't see it either.
It was all those minutes. All I saw was all the bold
It
minutes.
was before the amendment.
I still omitted it. I didn't see it.
Well, we get back on there.
All right, got it back on there. Any public comment? Yes, sir.
Just what, I know we've got a couple people in the public that are planning to make comments to fill a couple of agenda items that will be coming up momentarily. So if we just say that those of you who are here on a couple of agenda items, which we're getting ready to get to, that would be the proper time to make those comments.
Any public comment? Okay. Move into new business. Did you say you wanted to ask us to move people up in new business, sir?
Let's, yes, if we could go to, in the new business, go to number 2, And number 17, pick up those
2:17.
Do those together?
no, just these consecutive.
Oh, okay, do two and then 17.
There's somebody here for those items.
Yes, sir.
So, we'll continue with number 1.
Let's go with them. We'll try with them.
Okay. Is that okay with everybody?
We got a motion.
But if you want to go with one, let's take just a minute.
Do one, you got it.
Okay, we'll do 1, get it out of the way, Mr. Arthur.
You will go over it, it says ground maintenance proposals, and we did have several proposals that were submitted to us. I've given you a memo on this, we looked at these both on Friday afternoon. I have included a copy of the request proposal we sent out. And then you will see in July 5th memo from we had 5 actual proposals that we received. One said that they would not bid on this, but keep them in mind for later. I've given you my comments, and I've included the 3 low proposals. What I would ask is that you take a look at these. During this next week, I want to check the references and get in a position at your special call meeting in mid-month to present this to you. We make a decision at that time that we find this contract would start on August 1st.
That agreeable with everybody? Okay. Number 2, roadway, report on roadway and infrastructure improvement permit fee, Mr. Osborne.
Basically, I included another copy of the ordinance that you adopted recently. We have gone through, myself working with Dwayne Everhart, our code enforcement officer, taking a look at the resurfacing final copy needs and 3 active subdivisions that we have at this time, namely Perennial Park, Arbor Landing, Tiffany Mills. We sent out, as you know, copies of letters we sent to the builders in those 3, and had contact from Perennial Park, the builder, there, and they're here tonight, and they want to make a report to you. Mr. Mayor would request that we receive that report from them. As we know, City Attorney Kate Perry is not here tonight. They will be presented. He wants to take a look at before the Mayor and Council will take a look at whatever decision might be made.
Okay. The gentleman, step forward and state your name and where you live.
I'm Mitch McPherson. I live in Winston, Georgia. I'm here with Naveed Khan. He's the investor that owns the property in Perennial Park. It came to my attention when I was about to buy some more permits to build some houses, I was going to be charged $2,500 on top of my permit fee until y'all came up with some numbers for a fee. I was told if I came here tonight, I would have some numbers on what it's going to cost me. I think he's got some ideas he was going to try to do rather than him to pay $2,500. I guess I don't understand is the subdivision's been sitting for so long, but I start building it and all of a sudden I've got $2,500 fee being popped on me. Why didn't it come up prior to me starting to build? I guess is what I know that we've got to pay, we got to get the final topping in there at the percentages. We're trying to build some nice houses in there. I just don't understand why I started building and all of a sudden I got this ordinance popping on me all of a sudden.
I believe that was the question I have for the attorney as well.
So, what are the fees going to be? Because if I pull 3 permits tomorrow, it's going to cost me over $28,000. I can't afford to pay $28,000 to start building houses. I mean, we're just getting rolling here. One way or another, blacktop's gonna be put down on the road. Maybe we could do an escrow of some sort, where we could do an escrow for each house that's bought to get it done. But have we got any numbers on exactly what I'm gonna be paying?
Mr. Osborne?
Mr. Pearson, my understanding from our conversation is that y'all had a different approach that you wanted to present to the council.
Right.
Which you touched on a while ago.
Right.
And in talking with our city attorney, I felt like that mayor and council needed to receive that so that they would have that information as they started looking at what they might do.
Okay. So basically, if I go pull 3 permits tomorrow, I'm paying $2,500 for each additional permit.
That's what the council voted in.
That's what they voted.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But I also asked numerous times before y'all did that by an ordinance, how you could do that without putting a set fee for each subdivision and what it was gonna cost, and you went ahead and did it without a number. Just,
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna get this worked out.
I can understand the exact number.
I mean, because Mr. Osborne told me that y'all were gonna come up with some numbers, and that when y'all got the numbers, if I paid the $2,500, then y'all would reimburse us back the money.
but the ordinance doesn't.
But I understand, but what I'm saying is, I can't afford to just whip out $28,000 for building permits and then to build houses, build 2,800 square foot houses on top of that. I could do it if I'm building 1,200 square foot houses.
So do you have a proposal? Do you have a proposal other than that,
Well,
or you just
they're wanting
don't
to put,
pay?
well, what we're gonna do is try to open an escrow account up for each home that's built and sold in there, to put towards the paving of the roads, if we could work something out like that.
Okay, see, the purpose of that ordinance is to guarantee that those roads are, that those roads are resurfaced.
I understand, but I
And,
mean,
that the infrastructure in there is brought up to par so that when everybody, when all of it comes in, it's up to par. It isn't something to be cost prohibitive to you. So if you're going to pave the streets.
we don't have a problem with it. It has to be done. We know that.
Absolutely.
We know that.
So this is our way of making sure that that gets done.
Well, what if we put an escrow account, open an escrow account?
Well, that's
for
what
each
we're
house?
listening,
Okay.
to see what you propose.
Well, that's-
Right now, all I've heard is you don't want to pay that. I understand that.
No,
But
wait a
what
minute.
is your proposal to go to our
No,
city
what
attorney?
I think you're misunderstanding this. I don't mind paying. If my fee is gonna be $2,500, then I need to know that it's $2,500.
I got you. That
Okay.
makes perfect sense.
But you're telling me the max fee is gonna be $2,500. Why can't you give me a set fee? I mean, it's been 4 weeks since I've been here, and I told them I was coming to this council meeting. So why can't I not get a set fee?
We have a figure, but we have not presented it to the mayor and council, and they don't intend to broadcast it here, but based on our discussion, my thought was that y'all had a proposal.
No, what I asked you was, I would get 3 estimates from 3 different paving companies.
Okay,
And then I also said I would speak to the investors that own this property.
okay.
They came up with the idea of opening an escrow account up for each house we build and put money into it to get the roads
How
paved.
much?
I'm not sure yet. Okay, I'm in your situation.
Right. I think that's where the deal is. It's not to do anything to inhibit your ability to build. We both do the same thing. If we've got it there so that we're building the revenues to be able to pave the roads, you're doing the exact same thing.
Right.
We're doing the exact same thing.
Right.
It's just a matter of us being sure, Justice, you don't have the cost.
Well, you're gonna get, I think it was $282,000 just off my sewer tax. I think the total price you're gonna get off sewer tax, water tax, and water meters is just over, right at $400,000 off that one subdivision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but, so, you don't have an amount that you're willing to put in the escrow for us to.
I'll have to talk with the investors on what they're wanting to put in there.
So.
But I wanted to see what your amount was. Yes, sir.
Okay. But what the council did is the council adopted an ordinance that is now an ordinance.
Yes.
And they did not set a fee for each individual subdivision. You put it on your building permit fee. So unless you're willing to go back and change an ordinance to let people do an escrow, however long was that, y'all did the moratorium where nobody could buy a building permit till y'all got the ordinance in, I was out of town. What I'm trying to say is at this point, what you now have is an ordinance. And I sat here that night asking, put a fee. Why don't we have a fee? If this is gonna be different for each subdivision or each builder or each lot, you need a fee. So what you have now is an ordinance that doesn't have a fee, and that ordinance does not say they're gonna reimburse anybody. It does not say that. So either you gotta clean something up and get some other options in there, or everybody's gotta pay that maximum amount. And then you're gonna have to go on the good faith of the city to reimburse them because the ordinance doesn't say they're gonna get reimbursed. But it has been duly adopted, signed, and done.
You know, we can do the escrow with the 3 estimates that we get to get to the amount of paving project that needs to be done.
The fee, because this discussion came up before, the fee is $2,500 at this point. So that was kind of brought out at the last meeting that
That was the fee.
That's what they said.
that is the fee, right?
I heard that was the max fee.
They
Which
said
is
it, but
the
the ordinance doesn't say it. It
Right.
was said
So
when we
which
said
makes
you're
it the
questioning.
fee, which makes it the fee.
Okay.
But
Because
what
it's
they
the
signed
max,
says
there's not one in
$2,500.
place.
I don't care if it's wrong.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that's the fee.
Well, do you oppose us trying to get an escrow up? Fair to run some numbers and get an escrow up to do this rather than paying a fee?
No, you gotta pay a building fee.
We'll have to go back and revisit it, and we've got to talk to our attorney, see our attorney did that. You see, please don't take this the wrong way, sir.
No.
We have had builders in the past that done this, got this escrow. And I know one that cashed it in and left town as he went bankrupt.
Well, I'm a former deputy sheriff of Douglas County, and I promise you I'm not gonna do that.
Bad economy, left bad tax, but I get it. I mean, there was.
I understand a lot of things happen in the, I understand. Before I was a deputy sheriff, I was a home builder, so I know what happened.
Yes, sir.
You know, I don't know what to say about the guy that did that to you, but I'm pretty sorry.
He was from Douglasville.
I think that, I think it's already, it's all close to being resolved. Is it got to be, the numbers have got to be presented to us first?
Well, I don't want to surprise the mayor and council by presenting numbers
Right.
in terms of a response to you, and based on our discussion, Mr. Pearson, like I say, and in talking with Mr. Herring, was looking to see if what y'all were going to present tonight, to see if the council was interested in looking at that as a possible alternative.
Right, and I told you I would get the 3 estimates.
Right.
Okay, and then you told me that you would have some numbers.
Right.
So how do we, what do we count, what, you know, my question is, we don't want to stop the progress, we want to honor our ordinances, we want the road to pay.
That's gonna be a beautiful subdivision when it gets done.
No doubt. But whatever we do there, we got to do to all of the subdivisions, we got to treat everybody fairly. And our intent of this was to make sure that we have an ordinance that guarantees that the property owners in those subdivisions were getting a subdivision where the roads were up to par, you know, the other infrastructure, the stop signs, all of that was there in place so that they wouldn't have to pay for anything.
Right.
You know, which, that to me is nickels and dimes, it's going to go to the person who purchases the property.
Right.
All of that's going to be,
Right.
you know, be extended there. It sounds like that what we need to do is get you and Mr. Osborne and our city attorney together, get an appointment, get that set up, get y'all on the same page, and let's get this thing moving. I think we can sit here and talk about what the ordinance says.
Oh, we can talk about
what the
it all
ordinance
day long.
says. Right, but until we have our city attorney to advise us what legally we can and cannot do, if we can't act. And so if you have ideas of how much you want to put
Well, I'll have to get with the
in
investor.
escrow,
Mhm.
that means that probably you're very close to the numbers that we're going to charge. So it sounds like you should be pretty close to being the same. And, that's just a matter of getting with the attorney, making sure, we gotta make sure we're all legal and
Right.
everything is done fairly. So it just sounds like the way to resolve it is to get.
I understand, you gotta understand how I feel when I just started building there, and then all of a sudden, wham.
Even if I wanted to amend and abolish that ordinance tonight, it can't be done in one city. And the deal is, you gotta pay the roads, you're talking about putting an escrow aside. It's apples and apples, it's the exact same thing.
Right.
So how that's done is just a matter of getting with their city administrator, getting with their city attorney, and getting it done.
Okay.
Okay. Ms. Ransom next, Mr. Wallen, you're next, and Mr. Osborne, you're number 3.
Mine's simple. Right now, it doesn't matter if it's you, make sure I understand this correctly, or somebody decides to go buy a lot in one of the other subdivisions. Our building permit fee is that now, period. So you can't change a building permit fee unless we change the ordinance. Y'all set the building permit fee at that $2,000 whatever dollars for anybody.
It says max.
But it doesn't say miss a max, so the point is, anybody's gotta pay that, and without any figures, that's what you have right now, because it does not say that anybody would be reimbursed if they were paying over that amount. So at this point, if anybody comes in here to buy a building permit fee, my understanding is that's what the ordinance says at this minute.
Well, with the water tap, sewer tap, water meter, you're looking at $9,775 a bill to get a building permit. With that fee attached to it.
Yep.
Hey, Mr. Wallen.
I would like to tell Mr. McPherson that this is not something that just came up. I know you were just hit with it, but this has been coming for months and months because we haven't had any activity to speak of in the subdivisions. And then all of a sudden, we've got 3 subdivisions that are starting activity, and I know it looks like it was just aimed at you, but there was other ones that had started pulling permits. So we were in a position, in order to protect the taxpayers from having to pave the streets, we were going to have to get something in place.
And the size house I'm building over there, you're gonna have some good tax money coming off
So
there.
I understand that, and we appreciate what you're doing. But you talked about doing an escrow. I know that y'all aren't doing all of the lots over there. The ones that y'all are going to be concerned with is the asphalt directly in front of the homes that you're doing. So you're not looking at paving the entire subdivision, am I right?
See, we have 57 out of 94.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be fair for y'all to do the whole thing with 40 or another 40 lots owned by other people.
You know what we were thinking are 2 options. One, if we can do performance bond, but second, if we can on the closing, because it's easier when you're selling the house, then the money is coming in, and then you can put that money toward the escrow. Because this one is basically cash, you're putting in advance, and the house take maybe 4 or 5 months to sell to build. So that's a big difference, you know.
Well, that's something we could run by the attorney and see if it would work, but
So when you're we are applying for final certificate of occupancy or whatever, you know, so something like that, when we are selling it, so that time we can put money in escrow instead of going in advance.
I just want you to know, I appreciate what y'all are doing, and we're not trying to pose a hardship on the builders whatsoever, but at the same time, we've got to protect the taxpayers from having to spend, millions of dollars on asphalt.
Of course, the ordinance that we're talking about is just what Mr. Walden said, is looking at protecting taxpayers. So as you and I had talked, y'all came in and built it and left, and we got the problem. My feeling was that if with you getting the 3 quotes, and depending on what y'all were proposing, and if the mayor and council wanted to look at that, and it would take a period of time to work out, but it could be done, because we can we have worked with the county and done our calculations, and we think that those are good calculations. Your calculations from people who are actually out in the field doing it, the quotes may actually result in a lower figure. I don't know.
Right.
But now, what I don't recommend to the mayor and council that we go broadcast our number in that subdivision and then you shop and come back. Because you would probably find somebody that would look at doing it less. And I'd rather us be comparing apples and apples, which we would be doing if we get the figures for us up front.
So basically, you don't want to tell me the numbers because then I'll go try to find somebody.
Then you shop it, and that makes sense from the city standpoint.
But it makes sense on my standpoint to save money though. I mean, the whole idea of, if that subdivision had never went bankrupt, the city would not be involved in the paving because the builder would do it originally because there was a bond on the subdivision.
Because you would have had all of the lots.
Not necessarily, not necessarily. You got builders buying 10 lots here, 10 lots here, 10 lots here.
But you had a developer initially who had all of the.
Correct, the developer, yeah, and it is up to the developer on it.
Man, see, the deal is that if you're dealing with one developer who has all the lots, that's one thing. But if you're dealing with multiple developers who bought in, bought chunks of those lots, we still got to protect taxpayers, city of Temple. Because ultimately, whoever buys those houses will expect to have, the infrastructure in place.
Right.
And they're going to be promised that infrastructure out there.
Right.
So, we just got to make sure it gets done.
I understand.
And I still think that the best way to do this is, because this is all legal, is that you sit down with the mayor and the city administrator and the city attorney, and y'all work out and look and compare. Because our deal is to have the price it costs, the price that it costs to do the work.
And mine is to get the price as cheap as I can get it to get the job done.
I can't
That's business, that's how you make money.
I got the flow.
I understand that, I got my hand up. You're gonna yell at me, not over
Right.
that.
And you, sir?
So that's where we are.
But see, too, you're, I want to understand, I've been in business for a long time, sir. On paving, and I've had my driveway paved probably 4 or 5 times, There is going to be requirements, it's going to have to be a certain thickness and stuff like that, and put down correctly, so.
Well, the people that were recommended to me were through C.W. Matthews and Baldwin Paving and a couple of others, so they do a lot of work for reputable companies. So there's not some fly-by-night company where we could get in the price run to do a shoddy job.
And one of those down the back parking lot too, that we have to come back and redo it.
Right.
Too, so.
I understand.
Mrs. Ransom, you're next.
Yeah, when y'all sit down and meet with the attorney, can y'all get the last question that I had asked and never could get answered? Who owns the streets? Because last I heard, they'd never even been deeded to the city for us to be upcharging on those roads. Last I heard, we did not even own those roads. And if that has changed, then legally I need to know who owns the roads.
I don't think the city owns.
Well, we need to know that. That was the next question that nobody ever answered me.
Well, we may not own the roads, we're patching potholes in them at taxpayer expense.
But my question is, do we need them deeded to us?
We're providing street lights at taxpayer expense over
Then
there.
do we need the roads deeded to us?
And we're servicing the water and sewer over there.
But
That is
do
in
we
the-
need the
that is
roads
in the
deeded to
street.
us? That'd be my question. Are we doing that on roads that are not deeded to us? Because some of them couldn't be put on LMIG when I asked because they weren't deeded to us.
The way it used to be back in the day, when a developer come in and done a subdivision, he had to bring the streets up to certain specifications before the city would accept it.
Right.
And so there's other streets in subdivisions that is not owned by the city unless something has changed while I was gone.
My question is, what I guess I'm trying to get at is we need to see, because when I had a question about a road that LMIG could have helped us with, and we get the LMIG grant, that road had not been deeded. And we don't know how many of these roads, if they're deeded to us, that we can't use an LMIG grant to help bring that up as well. So that'd be my question as we start this. We need to know the legal, proper way to do this when it comes to the deeding of the roads, if we're putting those charges on permit fees.
The ordinance basically says you accept the roads when you come up to those standards.
Okay, so, but then can we put that into the fee for building permit? And that was my question. I never could get a straight legal answer on that. So when y'all sit down, just that's a question that I want answered on that, because we're gonna be coming up with our LMIG list again. That would be nice to know that we could possibly use that to help with some roads.
I don't think the government will go for that until they belong to the city.
That's what we
Stuff, and then once they get belong to the city and brought up to the specifications, and then something goes wrong in the streets, you turn that in.
Like I said, LMIG gets involved in doing new roads.
But you got some of them that are like already potholed up, or they were half done, and you got roads. But do we, those roads that fix them, or you have new pavement going to subdivisions connected with old pavement?
And that's what happened because of the builders going bankrupt and cashing in their escrow and getting out of town. And then Mr. Simmons was here last time when a lot of that happened. We're not saying that you are that kind of a builder. No, don't even think that. But in the meantime, we're trying to shore up and trying to get things in place. All we want is those streets paved to help the specification.
I understand.
And sir, we do expect you to make money as long as you are supporting your venture. You know, we're here to help you.
Right.
But we can't ask taxpayers to help support your venture.
Right.
And so you understand that. You don't have to tell you about that, but we do have the ordinance in effect, and I suggest you work on your proposal and give it to Mr. Osborne and put it in writing, and we'll take that to the city attorney and see if there's any way that we can help you.
Okay.
They want the streets paved. If you come get a permit tomorrow, you've got an ordinance to go with.
Good old economy.
Yeah.
What size home?
Well, that one over there is over 2,800 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, big dining room.
What's the price?
Not sure on that one, I do want to compliment your police department. Being a former deputy sheriff, I went up there and asked them to patrol the subdivision for me because I am starting to build, and I used to deal with theft all the time, and they've been in and out, and I appreciate it. So just let them know they're doing it. I appreciate what they're doing.
Chief is here. Thank you. He heard it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, and we'll continue the dialogue, but in the meantime, we have an ordinance.
All righty.
All right. Item number 17, consider a request for subdividing the property at 395 Villarosa Road, Westshire Townhomes.
We'll go to the last tab in the book. You will find some information that this company will be talking with you about.
I don't have it.
Hi.
Chris,
Is it this? I got a fax cover sheet.
Okay, sir, tell us who you are and where you
Okay.
live.
My name is David Huffman. I live in Marietta and moved over here in the late 70s, so I call myself a native. My wife is Barbara. She's here, and we have 3 sons, and we have a little small real estate company, and my family and I own this complex that we call Westshire Townhomes. And just a very simple request, try to save you time. I want to cut off these 3 slabs on the right-hand side. As you look at it, you'll see the double dash line down there. And these on the left-hand side are built. There's 88 units. And I'm trying to get a mortgage on them, and I want to cut these off on the right so I can get a construction loan to build those later. And same, no zoning change, no ownership change, no use change. Just simply wanted to divide these 3 slabs on the right-hand side off. And my lender said, ask the city if they give you a letter saying they don't object to you subdividing it. And that's what I'm here asking for, is just a letter to say you don't object to me subdividing it. I've already had the survey work done, and we'd be filing this as 2 separate plats.
Contacts I have, so this gentleman.
88 units over here, and there's 2 slabs for 89 units.
So this is what you're going to see.
Yeah, I just want to cut that
line. Okay.
right where that double line is.
I was looking at those, I was trying to make sure I was looking at the right line. Okay.
That's,
That's the road, I think.
He's saying-
Yeah, I'm good. I got it now.
There
Okay.
you go.
Okay. I had contact late last Friday by Mr. Huffman, and I told him that it sounded like what he was doing was subdividing his property, and that thought that would have to go before the council, and that problem was that we were meeting Tuesday, and I didn't have any information from him, but we talked, and I put that item on the agenda, not knowing if we would be pulling it or not, and we did get the information this morning that showed on here Friday or whatever reason it didn't come through. But unfortunately, our city attorney is not here tonight. I have talked to Mr. Perrion, and he had some questions. But the situation we're in is this company is, as he will tell you, he understands it's his problem that he got himself into from a timing standpoint.
That's true. It's not anything the council did. I just found out from my lender that they want this letter, and we've been working on this loan for about 4 months and set to close in the week. And so what I would ask, if you might be willing to give me approval subject to the attorney's approval, because then we'd have to come back through a meeting again.
Well, I ask you something. Can you show me something like that?
Sure, yes, ma'am.
Now, you're talking about.
It's a dotted line right here. This is 88 units. And I want to just spin these off, these 3 lots over here to separate parcels, so I can get a construction loan on these. Once I get
You're gonna build these?
Yeah, I want to build over here. Once I get this under mortgage, if I put it all under mortgage, I can't get a construction loan over there. I just want to put this much under the mortgage, and then I can get a construction loan for that separately. I never thought about it until that came up at the last moment and said, well, you need to get it subdivided and check with the city to make sure it's okay. And if you don't feel comfortable with it without the legal opinion, I would just ask you would vote on it subject to the legal opinion being approved.
Okay.
Ever since those, that was rezoned back in the probably late 90s, it was rezoned to R6. Terry Dobbins had it done and built the Villa Russell Apartments. And anytime anything goes on over there, such as they came back later and wanted individual lots for townhomes so that they could do what you're wanting to do, is have separate mortgages on them. But each and every time something is done, it's procedure that it goes before the planning commission, especially on a lot split or a subdividing. So I think if we try to do anything here without a planning commission recommendation, that will probably not follow the procedures. I think the plats and the idea and what he wants to do needs to go to the planning commission and let them make a recommendation to us. This is the way it's always been done in the past, even on this property.
finish.
All right. These are just slabs, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
This is already built.
That's already built.
So what you're doing is a mortgage and you're wanting a new construction loan so you can draw.
Right.
Is it gonna hold up your loan closure, just to come down to
Yeah.
closing?
Well, I probably lose it, to be honest with you. I've been working on it for 4 months, and it's with Freddie Mac, and they just came up and told me. I mean, if I put it all in there, then these slabs will just stay slabs, and won't even be anything
And
built
there won't
on
be
it.
anything, so here is my next question. This is right here, 19 units,
22.
22. This is 22 more sewer customers. This is 22.
Sewer and water.
I said, this is revenue that the city desperately needs. Just throw this out here, would it be possible to have the city attorney contact him tomorrow, see if it is a problem? Planning and zone, if you can get a quorum up, you got a 24-hour call. If you need to call it. They can make their recommendation, and with their recommendation, we can approve the letter without having a meeting. They can send that recommendation right here. You can do it by a call, and it can be pending that so that it doesn't hold anything up and we don't lose 22 units left sitting for someone else to come in and not be able to do anything with. He's got a mortgage on this.
See,
I agree, I think, getting this water and sewage tap fee, I think is important for Temple, and I think we need to try to work with them as much as we can. We also need to go through our planning committee and get them to meet as soon as possible.
I think we do need to expedite it quickly if we can, but I think we still need to stay within our guidelines and our procedures so we don't get in trouble and we don't set a precedent for the future.
Mr. Rockwell.
Howard, you mentioned that this has already been looked at once before by the planning and zoning, this actual property and this plat and everything.
Couple of times.
So, was it for the same purpose, or?
No, the purpose before was when they came back, it used to be, when it was Villa Rosa Apartments, it was all, the buildings were all one deed. And they wanted them separated into townhomes so that they could sell them separately, mortgage them separately, and have them fee simple separately. So that was approved, that went before the planning commission, and they approved all that. And of course, it went before the planning commission with the rezone when the apartments were originally approved,
So, but this is not requesting a change of zoning.
It's just a letter saying they're subdivided.
They would still, even if there was a letter, just a letter to subdivide it, you still, whatever the zoning is zoned, or the decision they make, it would be the same.
Same owners, same use, same zoning.
It would just be,
Well, then,
so there would be a reason to go back to the plan.
yeah, that's,
I would say run it by the attorney and find out if it does meet the planning commission.
Because actually, there still is 88 tax bills on those, and then there's 22 tax bills on these unfinished ones, and then there's one on the common area. And we pay every tax on every single unit, just like you said, it was divided. That's the way we're doing it now.
So the 22 that's not complete or
They get lower taxes.
they're laid out as fee simple.
Yeah, they lay it out as fixed, but we're not gonna sell them. We just rent them. And you get more, the county get more taxes on those 22 when they develop too, and more taxes go up on them.
Mr. Simmons, did you have your hand up, sir?
yeah, I think we need to try to expedite this as soon as possible and help them out. That brings up on the pressure to finances. I think we need to get with the attorney as soon as possible and try to furnish him with whatever he needs.
I'd like to make a motion that we allow our attorney to check into this, make sure everything is kosher. Even if we gotta go back to the plan, but to do it as fast as we possibly can, get him the letter.
Well, see, I tend to agree that he's just wanting this subdivided and it's not changing the zoning,
Right.
so I don't know.
But, to have Kay check it over would be good. That's my
Got a motion, Mr. Bracknell, that we send this to the attorney to expedite to see if it's okay to subdivide this tract of land for this
And to
gentleman.
send that, and to send the letter. And if
Specify.
everything is
Send the letter.
good, then you send the letter.
Bang. You hear a second?
I'll second.
Got a second with Mr. Simmons. Any discussion?
So discussion is if he says it's okay, we don't have to come back before the council, the letter just gets sent.
Right.
Just go through the attorney.
I would say you'll contact them tomorrow. Meet with the rest of them. Okay, very good.
If you don't get him, you don't call
Any
back.
more discussion?
Sir, because I can you communicate with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
we
talk
can
to
make it too.
Mr. Osborne tomorrow, or whenever he can email me, call me, and hopefully take care of it. Thank you very much.
Anyway, we hadn't voted, sir.
Second
Any more
discussion.
discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried, sir.
Okay. Thank you all very much for your time and for your service.
Satisfy your bank commitment and get you to driving some nails.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Number 3, report on staffing in Public Works Department, Mr. Everhart.
Mayor and Council, as many of you may know that my department's staff has been cut by about 75%. And what we're looking to do is have Cody be on call as needed. And basically what me and Mr. Osborne done, we got a little agreement with him for him to work for $17.42 per hour without benefits. Maximum of $15 per week, and again, this would be as needed until we get adequate staff in the Public Works Department.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I got 2 questions. Is Red Henry still working?
Part-time.
He's still under the part-time? The way that the budget was supposed to have been set out with those 2, and we had to do it that way on the advice of Cynthia Daly, and I don't believe it was broke down that way in the new one when we did the 16 budget, is we had 2 part-time positions laid out under, I believe it was under the water and sewer. Now, is Cody being paid out of Public Works or out of water and sewer?
I think it's Public Works.
Public Works. Okay, so we need to check and see, because Mr. Henry was pulling some full-time hours, and I had expressed some concern about that because it was very clear to us by the attorney when he came back that he could not work over the 20 hours per our agreement with GMA. So there should have been still a part-time slot that this could have been, paid out of until you hire. If we're not over the hours, because if you had somebody pulling full-time hours under a part-time slot, check and make sure he's under Public Works. If we start pulling $17 an hour out of water and sewer, if that's not where it's paid from, that's gonna mess with our compliance. So my question now is basically it's you and one other employee. That's pretty much it. So you're advertising for Cody's position and Jesse's position?
We've been advertising on that in the last couple of weeks. Deadline is this Friday, and we'll probably have about 15 applications.
See, I don't know why I thought Cody, just check. One of the things, I just can't remember, because I know the way they moved some employees around to pay them out of Public Works versus water and sewer.
So you just need a motion to do that.
Basically, this is more of a report than anything else. I mean, insofar as Cody was an employee, he left us and simply
Okay. All right. That takes care of that. Number 4, agreement with T. Austin for certain consulting services and human resources. Mr. Brown.
Yes, sir. I asked that to be put back on the agenda so that we could revisit it, because Allison was coming in, Ms. Allison was coming in to help with, to make sure that we have everything in place and ready to go under human resources. And I kind of felt bad that I don't think that we should have an employee that's paying out of pocket for something that's benefiting all of us. So I simply want us to, I want to make a motion that we reimburse Mr. Osborne for what he spent in this and to develop a consultant up to $2,000 to finish this project and make sure that we have everything in place. So that's a motion I'd like to make.
Well, see, we raised our city administrator's fee from 55 to 72. And with this new intergovernmental agreement with Villa-Rica and all of the stuff that we have put on our budget, I am concerned about this budget. And I am not willing to recommend to the council a new hire that is not in the budget. So that's where I stand. Before, it was brought up that we get what we pay for, and it talked me into going along with this increase in salary, and I just get very nervous about this budget and adding new people that was not provided in the agreement. So there again, I'm not comfortable recommending any new hires.
It wouldn't be a hire, it would be a consulting service.
And it's the same, somebody get a check.
Around the corner.
That's right.
Okay, every single thing that she was consulted to do without council knowledge was done in the forensic audit. You can go to the personnel that talked about our employment files, everything that needed to be updated and how it was done. No one up here has permission to go into a contract with any employee that doesn't come before the council. Cody was here, Cody was hired, he's offered to do that. I'm sitting here shaking my head as to how you signed a contract with him when the mayor has to sign all contracts per the city charter. But y'all went on with that before the discussion got there. This was not anything that the council was aware of. As I stated, in our handbook, we have a policy under the Freedom of Information Act on who we have to allow in our personnel files. Someone who's working for the city of Douglasville that we did not know, didn't know was up here, it didn't come to anybody, and there's charges incurred. Those are not the taxpayers' charges. And they would be double paying for something that was already done in the forensic audit. Just nobody up here is going around doing what the forensic audit told us was done. Every single thing that she said she reviewed was already reviewed. It comes down to a city clerk needing her job description given to her so that she can do the things that were in there to do. So if you go into a contract on your own without the city council's knowledge and you incur tax dollars on your own without the city's knowledge, that is in no way a city taxpayer expense. I think anybody up here that decided to go do that would probably have to come up with it out of their own pocket. And when it comes to someone who is not on our payroll, that has not went through background checks, has not done anything, that's a new hire. And there is no consultant services in our, we're already over consulted. We have to amend the budget to fix consultants that we've already gotten when it comes to the overages on the forensic, not the forensic audit, the regular audit. We got to have more money put in consultant line anyway, because they're going to charge us more for 16 than we had budgeted under professional fees. So, I mean, I'm not even quite sure again where you would take this out of, but the bottom line is this was not anything that come before the city council. And I sure didn't have any knowledge. I thought, from what I was told, was exactly that someone had met for dinner and helped them out over dinner. You said you met this lady for dinner and she given you some good advice. That was all I heard. You know, you talk about, setting precedents. This is not a precedence that you need to set, that any one person can go into a contract with anyone up here without the council's knowledge, pay for it out of our pocket, and then let the taxpayers reimburse us.
Your boys,
There's a motion on the floor.
we got a motion.
I'll second it, let's see where the vote goes.
Oh, my goodness.
Vote the motion outside that charter, and just again, I will turn you in for misappropriating taxpayers' dollars.
Hire an employee that the charter says that the mayor is supposed to recommend to the city council. And I am not comfortable recommending any new employee that is not on, already involved in our budget process.
Be just a temporary though, right?
No, it's already done. It's completed. The bill's been here. He's got checks he's refused to sign that have been put on his desk. So you're back paying somebody for work you didn't hire. Checks are sitting here and he hadn't signed them. So you go ahead and finish what you're doing.
Okay. Got a motion and a second here on the floor to do something that I don't think is legal.
Oh, no, it's not. I called you.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
Wow.
Okay. And I want to,
Didn't you say we could have public comment at everything?
I want to say again, reiterate that charter states that the mayor recommends all employee hires, and I am not recommending any new hires at this time.
Was Mr. Brackett gonna sign that check?
I could not
Just two
hear,
employees, okay?
I'm not going to,
All right.
and we'll see where this goes. Number 5, Founder's Day initial planning.
You got hands out here. Let other people talk.
I did not hear what Mr. Simmons said.
I didn't say anything. I want a legal opinion from our city attorney.
Exactly. We're gonna
Y'all
get one
pass.
from one attorney.
Public comment on each thing.
Item number 5.
Really?
Thank you.
Founder's Day initial planning. I asked Mr. Rockwell to take on this Founder's Day deal, and he has graciously accepted that. And I have volunteered for
Like
what
that.
I can do, and I think
Got around that
Mr.
corner.
Brackman was volunteering to help
Thank
too.
you.
So, Todd, how, you are the Founder's Day guy, you're in charge of Founder's Day, and so whatever you need me to do, if you will ask me or instruct me, I will help you in any way that we can. I think we have $2,500 in the budget to spend on Founder's Day. You got anything you would like to say?
I just wanted to thank Kristen for getting our new applications together, and we're trying to get them on the website. It's been kind of a real important first step in this, is to get these applications available. We all have a copy of them, but they're available. They're here at City Hall already available, and I've just been pressing real hard for the last couple of weeks to get them online. As I'm out recruiting vendors, I need to be able to direct them somewhere besides City Hall, because a lot of vendors come from all over the state to come out. So, but right now everything is going the way it should be going.
You keep the
I appreciate
pen
your
and
help.
and let us know what you want us to do.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 6, training for elected officials and planning commission members, Mr. Osborne.
We've talked about this before, and we want to try to zero in on some dates. And the main thing tonight, I would like for the mayor and each council member looking ahead to the second half of July and right at the 1st of August, let me know when you could not participate in this training session workshop.
Is it gonna cost money?
Right?
Is it gonna cost money?
It might.
We're way over budget with training, so I don't think you need to be booking any more training for the year.
I'll y'all recommendation.
You're way over budget. You might want to look at the policy in our handbook that was duly adopted when you book training when there's no money.
What I need from the mayor and council is any dates that we need to stay away from.
And stay away from all of them when there's no money in the budget.
We'll put you down.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna spend no more of that money.
Okay. You got any dates but you know that will not work. If you do, call Mr. Osborne. Okay, item number 7.
Can I say something? Any
Yes,
date
sir.
on- Well, you said call me.
Yes.
Any date on Wednesday, I can't.
Okay, and David Wednesday, Mr. Osborne.
And
Don?
I'll be out of town, 15th through the 19th.
15 to the 1.
19th.
Okay, anybody else get anything, let Mr. Osborne know. City of Temple's fiscal year budget, 2016, Mr. Osborne.
If you go to that item, basically, I did not make copies of the last monthly report for you because we'll be getting another one out shortly. If there are questions, I'll be glad to be with you after this meeting or at any time. I did include a proposed 2017 budget calendar. In other words, work to prepare the budget for fiscal 17, and it's there just for your information, and we'll be talking a lot more about that. But this is a proposal that Sarah Hefty and I talked about.
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
The last financials that I had that you said were through May, there was no way that payroll or accounts payable were in that. So basically, we have not gotten any finances this year that show us at any point where we are. Like I said, the last you got only showed, wasn't no way it was through May. It only showed less than $20-something, $30,000 for payroll for everyone versus, $180,000 for the year. So if you or the mayor could call Villarick or whoever's doing that and have a printout for me to pick up this week that would show where we are for the end month of June with all of the payroll and the accounts payable taken out of those figures because they're not out. And the revenue, it appears that the revenue's in, which if that's the case, the revenue is way off, but it is not accurately showing any of our expenditures. It looks like it might even be running as close as 3 months of expenditures behind, and at least payroll 2 to 3. So if I can get one that is up to date with June, that would be great.
We should be getting the end of June figures from them in the next few days.
But if we could make sure that end of June, because that end of May did not include May's payroll. I'm not even quite sure it included April's payroll. It was, revenue looked right, but payroll and accounts payable, there's the plug-in process where you have this computer taken in, you have this computer paying out, and we're missing the middle that puts it in the system. And so we need to see where payroll is at because I've got a feeling with what we're paying. I want that information in June before we start hollering end of the year pay and we're end of the year pay over budget when it comes time to hand out bonuses for employees. So I definitely want that as close to the end of June as it can be to do figures toward the end of the year. So if you or her could call and have that, I'll just come by.
Okay. Number 8, report on the 2015 Temple audit, Mr. Osborne.
Next is basically a memo that also is attached to that is the letter that we sent to the state. Our CPA firm is very, very close to completing the audit, but it was not completed by the end of June, and that's the reason we asked for the extension. The state said that they would not be granting the extension since we had had to request extensions the previous 2 years, but it was good that we were asking for one, and we do have a couple of weeks of a grace period, and hopefully we'll get that wrapped up in the next few days. And as soon as we know that our CPA firm is ready to have a meeting, that's when we'll be looking at scheduling a special call.
One more question.
Okay, Todd, you're 15th through the 19th, was that in August or July?
July.
July?
Yes, sir.
So, try to schedule this if we get the word back from the audit people that it's ready. And try to keep that in mind that we can't be here on Wednesday, yes ma'am.
I got a question, because basically they told us they're gonna deny the extension, correct?
Probably so.
Okay, so what happens to the status of our grant or any of that money we're waiting to get back if they deny our extension?
Well, that's what we're trying to do, if we can get this thing turned around, this fast. As I understood, what you told me, sir, that, we would be okay.
They said we got a couple of weeks, till the middle of the month was the lady, Department of Audits, said, but now, Councilmember Ransom, when you talk about the grant, which one are you talking about?
Did we ever get the reimbursement check that Howard Ray was working on? We had to be complete with everything and signed off before they mailed us that money. So if we come out of, if they deny our extension, and they're gonna put us on that list, which you normally go on when you're out of compliance, which hinders any state grants or checks and funds being sent to you.
Basically, what you on the list not to get would be any new grants.
New grants, they would still pay up.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's where we are with that. We'll be calling y'all with a call meeting to get this audit presented to the council and get it adopted where we can get it sent to the state. A report on the July the 23rd yard sale was shot with a cop. Chief Lee.
Good evening. It's taking place on the 23rd of July, 9 o'clock a.m. to 3 a.m. Stop and get everybody get flies.
Yes, it's in the,
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
only thing I would say is, the cover memo, I started off by saying that following is a copy of my summary of key points from the meeting we had. I should have gone back and changed it, because when I was reading over the flyer, it covers all the key points. So, if you just focus on the flyer, that basically provides all the information there.
Yes, sir.
So is the yard sale being at the police?
No, it's going to be here at City Hall right here.
Over here on this
Yes.
side? Okay, I got you. I'm sure with that.
No questions.
I am glad that y'all are doing this. This is the first time seeing it. I'm glad that y'all are doing this. Your food that you're giving away, is that
Yeah.
donation from somebody?
100%. We're going to get donated from local vendors, Bengals, so forth. Whoever wants to donate, I'll be cooking, whatever. And all food that's sold proceeds to the virtual shopping.
Well, if you need any help cooking, I'll be glad to come out there and volunteer my time to cook. Might even bring a pot of peanuts. All right? Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I didn't, but are you gonna be selling it and then taking the money and putting it towards it
Everything
as
that's
well?
sold, from the food down to the items that is donated, is going strictly to the shop with a cop. We're going to deposit it in and withdraw money, deposit money to the account.
Well,
It's going
if you need grills or anything like that,
I'll let you know.
give it to me and I got grills and
Appreciate it.
be glad to come help with this.
We don't need much help you can get.
All right.
Thank you, Chief. Item number 10, status report on the continuing implementation of the intergovernmental agreement with Federal Rate.
Work is still progressing on that. But in fact, we have a meeting Thursday at 4 p.m. Concerning this is with the sale. So far as I know, we are on board, so we'll be through with the implementation before the end of the summer. Hopefully, we'll be right after the 1st of August. But Bill Ricker and our department, Cindy in particular, are working good on getting things moving along.
Number 11, report concerning youth baseball, Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just call attention, we all know, I think, of the situation we had near the end of the year, and what we have loaded here is a letter that Mr. Wilson did, basically addressed to whom it may concern, and all of you probably have read this, but if there are questions, we'd be glad to try to respond.
Okay. Discussion of mayor and council retreat, Mr. Brack.
Yes, sir. We're beginning to move forward and, get things together and working together. And I thought it would be good if we could have an opportunity where the mayor and council could sit down, and especially with budget time coming up, and try and get ideas, prioritizing projects, what we as individual council people have in mind, to kind of put them together and get us in kind of all together, working together, get our capital outlay, those projects in line. Nothing that would cost money. The only thing we'd do probably if we did it all day on a Saturday, or if we took, whatever we did, might be lunch, we all go to McDonald's or something, buy our own hamburger. But as far as there being anything, I would not. I can't imagine what the expense would be. But it would give us, so many mayors and councils do these retreats. County commissioners do these retreats. You talk to a lot of people. You go to the GMA. They talk about how it works to get together and listen to each other and kind of prioritize and figure out where you want to take the city. So a lot of things have been put in place, and I think maybe our projects.
Maybe if we do it on Saturday, we can make the chief cook us up.
Oh yeah, that would be good. But in this, I would like for kind of give directions to Mr. Austin, start looking at it and working with you to come up with a place that wouldn't be expensive, but would give us the opportunity to sit down and to do this.
Why don't you kick that around and report back to the mayor and council?
Get with Mr. Austin. Okay.
Okay.
And I guess just go on to the next couple.
Yes, you can.
All right.
Number 13.
The 13 is that a lot of us have been talking about this whole Outlook thing, about how complicated the Outlook is. And what I'd like to propose is that we change from doing our email on Outlook to go into Google Mail. And within the whole framework of Google is the ability to share documents, so that if we're working on things that we would have the ability to share. I know that it can be, emails and all that have to be subject to open records. And I know that there are a lot of government agencies that are going to it. It is so much easier. You have your email on your telephone, you have it on your laptop, you can have it wherever. So I'd like, in that particular one, I'd like to make a motion that we change, and you can keep the current email addresses that we have. We don't have to change our email addresses to it. You can, you can keep the current email address, and it simply become Gmail rather than Outlook. It's a much easier, less cumbersome system too.
Okay, we got a motion by Mr. Bracknell to change our email to Google Gmail. You hear a second?
I have discussion.
Second by Mr. Rockley. Any discussion?
Yeah, too. I still don't have access to Outlook email. I still can't access mine. Haven't been able to. But if you're talking about changing, you're going to have to get with the city attorney, because any of those documents or emails that will be in Outlook are still open record, and you don't need to get anything deleted out until it's all been backed up.
Sure, that goes without being said.
Well, but things happen without being said.
Okay, any more discussion?
Councilman Lane, what's it cost?
Nothing.
Sound good?
I'm telling you the things that I got down here, none of them cost money.
All righty. Got a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
All right,
Okay, number 14.
the next one isn't necessarily, it sounds like I'm proposing that we hire just a part-time employee. But one thing that I would like for us to really look at is our whole social media and how it relates to the city. I know, tell me if I'm wrong, I know that the police department has a Facebook page, the rec department has a Facebook page. Do either of you guys have a Twitter account or anything other than Facebook? Okay. Can I ask him a question?
Yes.
Is that appropriate? What message do you convey on your Facebook page, Chief? What is the purpose of the police department's Facebook page?
It's supposed to just show positive stuff, to the community, show what we do. And we do positive things, we want to get alerts out to the community. That's what the main purpose is for.
And the rec department is saying about the same thing?
Yeah, because that's how we get the majority of our information.
One of the things with social media is how to, it's the whole purpose of whether you're addressing and catching or attracting the person that you want to, what kind of information are you trying to get to them? Are you using the correct social media? Whether we should be looking at Twitter or something like that. And what I would like to ask Mr. Osborne to do is to explore some options, maybe with an intern, from West Georgia or University of West Georgia, or West Central. What is West? Is it West Central? Or even if there is, from my understanding, the one thing that you don't want is anybody. The reason I said looking at maybe an intern or something of that nature is volunteers are frowned on big time. Whoever catches or whoever needs to be a city employee, so they're under the. And along that line is to kind of get Mr. Osborne to kind of get the department heads to see what kind of message they're getting out, whether they think it's effective, what might be some other ways of dealing with that. Does that make sense?
Not. So you're wanting to hire an intern to come in to manage the department
Nope,
head social
I did
media?
not say that.
And that's
I
why
did
I'm
not
confused.
say that. I said.
It's under hiring a part-time, or under hiring an employee.
I don't know how I don't know how to word that, but to look at an intern that could come in and maybe do help with suggestions of social media, not do it, but to make suggestions.
Explore the option.
Yes.
To pay them.
Not a proposal there, just to get Mr. Osborne to see what kind of options are out there and what might be available.
To handle social media as a free intern?
No.
I'm so
No, that's not how
confused.
interns work. They
You have to pay them.
There are a lot of options and a lot of ways of communicating. Facebook is one. Facebook is a way to communicate with older adults. If you're looking at younger adults, they're more in tune to Twitter and some of those kind of things. There's a lot of different options out there. One thing is that I think that it would be very advantageous just to look at what our website is doing and what we're trying to do. And sometimes interns that are working on projects can bring you ideas in. So I'm not suggesting turning anything over to anybody.
The motion, that's why I'm confused. Okay, so the motion is consider hiring a part-time employee.
No, it's not.
That's the agenda item.
Okay.
Is consider hiring a part-time employee.
Look, the idea of looking for a part-time employee that could, get to work on getting their social media.
Okay, that would require a job
I'll take
description.
that.
Okay, then that would
But it's
require
not
a job
hiring them.
description.
It's not hiring them, it's exploring it. It says
Okay.
consider. So that would mean job description, pay, all of that kind of stuff,
Okay.
including internship.
Okay.
What's the
Then,
point?
may I go to the next one?
You certainly can, sir.
And then the next one is, we have a comprehensive plan that is in place. And if you look at that, is that it? All right. Is that what, they sent that back to you? All right, good deal. The deal is to look at it and to see, because when I was looking at it, and that a lot of the projects that are on here, or some of the projects that are on here that have already been completed, and the suggestion is that we keep close eye on our comprehensive plan, that our comprehensive plan is reflecting, capital outlays and reflecting. So it's just a matter of reminding all of us to take it back out to see if it's exactly where we want to go with it, if we need to adjust it. Because one of the overwhelming messages this weekend was that if we are looking for grants or any of that type of thing, that most of them now want to look at our comprehensive plan. But our comprehensive plan is critical that when we're looking at a project.
Okay, number 16.
I don't know why that's on. I'd like to make a motion to take that off.
Let's take off number 16 by Mr. Bratton. Give a second. Second. Mr. Baldwin, any discussion?
You didn't have public comment.
By saying aye.
You never had public comment.
We got the hand motion.
You said they could talk
And
when
they
got to
said,
agenda
let's do
items.
it
I
as
said,
we
"Do I
go."
get asked when you were doing it?"
Ma'am?
You said people could do it when it come up on agenda.
That's what
items, and
Mr.
I said, "You're
Osborne
wrong."
wanted. That's what y'all did.
I thought we took care of that.
I thought we needed to. I like the motion.
I have a question.
Mr. Simmons, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Wow.
Well,
Wow. Certain event stuff,
well,
don't have public comment.
now,
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
I have a question.
Okay.
One of the rare times I ask a question, Mr. Mayor.
Ask it after.
No, this, while the council's still here.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not certain about new business item number 4. There was Mr. Bracknell made the proposal, Mr. Walden seconded it. The vote was,
Wait.
I saw that Mr. Rockwell's hand went up, but I was not certain about Mr. Simmons on item number 4.
No, I was going to get legal advice.
He voted no.
So you voted no?
Yeah, he was no with me.
Okay, so was that,
Got 3 affirmative votes.
so that passed?
That passed.
Thank you.
Okay, now back to the adjournment.
Got a motion and a second?
Seconded by Mr. Simmons. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Carried.
Thank you.
got a grant, you want to know.
You gave him some more information. Even though they didn't read whatever they have, can I get it?
Yes.
Or do I have to ask?
Just go tell me what was in your packet.
You have to get everything in their packet? Okay. You have to get everything in the packet, or can you say, who do I have?
Go to Mayor Ms. Strasburg.
All right.
But yeah, everything up there is.
All right.